On today's video, I'm cooking a turducken on my full-size Smokeslinger. Stay tuned. All right guys, welcome back. Today is a very exciting day for me. Recently, I was able to find this beautiful creation called a turducken down at a local meat market near me. The meat market is in St. Robert. It's called Carnivore's Meat Market. And this guy is Tony Estrada, and he's the one that made this for me. He's a meat cutter down there, and they do whole animal processing in-house, but they also have like a whole line of alpha-gal friendly, what they call non-mammal stuff in their cases that you could just pop in there and get it. So be sure to check them out. There's a link in the description to their meat market, etc. But let's get into this turducken. You might be saying, what the heck is a turducken? Or maybe you already know about this thing. My first run-in with this was about, I don't know, 8 years ago. A friend of mine named Ron grew up in Louisiana, and we were hunting ducks up here local. I don't know, it's been a while, actually, more than 8 years ago. We were in the duck blind one day, and he's explaining all the weird stuff they eat down in Louisiana, and I love Cajun food. And I had never heard of a turducken before. Well, at the time, I was kind of weirded out a little bit. I didn't really know what that would be like. And then, I don't know, probably more recent, like 8 years ago, I found a place here local that had one. By the way, these things are not exactly cheap. You're gonna buy a turkey way cheaper than you'll buy one of these because there's a lot of knife work that goes into this. I went and bought this turducken and I brought it home, and at the time I cooked it on my drum smoker for our family Thanksgiving. And I gotta be honest with you, I really didn't know what to expect when I got into it because I didn't ask a lot of questions of the people that made it. In this case, I cooked that thing and I was able to save some of the drippings on the drum, and I sliced into that and got that first bite, and my mind was blown. I tell you, it was so good. So what a turducken is a combination of a chicken and a duck and a turkey. That's why they call it a turducken. So you start on the outside with the turkey, then we go with the duck, and then on the inside of that we have a chicken. So in order to make one of these and make it eater friendly, this whole thing has to be deboned, and we're going to roll this up with like other stuff on the inside of it. In this case, what Tony did for me is they have some non-mammal sausage that they have in their case. I haven't had the sausage yet, but knowing their food down there, it's really great. So there's non-mammal sausage is a combination of turkey, duck, and chicken, and they got some different seasonings in there. Anyway, what he did is he deboned the chicken, deboned the turkey or the duck, and deboned the chicken. Now, when they debone, they don't cut the bones out of the legs and the wings. They kind of keep those intact because who doesn't want an awesome turkey leg, right? But the rest of the carcass is deboned. All the rib bones are out, all of that. They do debone the legs and the wings on the inside, which is like the turkey and the duck, the chicken and the duck. But the turkey, they leave those intact. They stuffed the chicken full of sausage, and then there's a layer of dressing around that in between the chicken and the duck. And then they put that whole mess inside this turkey cavity. So what they did here on top is they have this, the spine is cut out, the wings are folded back, and the legs are still down here. The breast meat is down, and they put this fennel on the inside of that string. It just kind of adds some look to it. And we're gonna get some awesome stuff off of that, some awesome flavor layers off of that fennel as well. So we're gonna get on into this. There's an outline of my cook. If you wanna go over to the Smokeslinger Pit Owners group, there's a link in the description. Go over to the Facebook group, join that group. If you don't get on Facebook for anything else, get into that Facebook group because you're gonna find a bunch of buddies in barbecue in there, and we're all as crazy as I am. You can get in the files section, you can download today's cook, timeline and the recipe, the whole bit in there. I'm not going to show you how to make the turducken because my knife skills are not that great, but you're going to see my cooking timeline and what I rubbed it with and what I do with the juice and all that stuff. So on today's cook, we're going to use a couple of different seasonings from friends of mine. This is Bartlow's Barbecue, and this one is All Y'all. It's kind of his version of an SPG rub. We're going to use that for our base layer of rub on the outside of the skin. And then I can't go wrong with some YardBird from Plowboys Barbecue, my buddy Todd Johns, Kansas City. This is an amazing rub. We're gonna put a very light coat of that on the outside of the skin. We don't wanna go too dark because we don't want the sugar to burn and get too dark. A lot of people will like rub the skin down with something like oil or I've even seen mayo used, and I've used mayo. It really works great. But today I'm gonna be using bacon up at a couple of different times during the cook. I'm not gonna worry about putting it on right now because it's just gonna melt and come off. But during the cook, when I'm trying to crisp up that skin, that's when this is gonna play a role. Today, we're gonna be cooking this meat side down. That's the breast meat down. So this seam is up on top. And that's gonna trap a lot of these awesome juices that we're gonna be wanting to use later on down the road, as well as just keep all those layers of flavor on the inside from the dressing. It's got like peppers and all kinds of stuff in there. We're gonna set the Smokeslinger up. We're using the full-size Smokeslinger today. We're gonna set it up for offset mode. You're gonna see me do that here in just a moment. And we're gonna get right into this bird. Right now we've got one upper grate, one lower grate to hold our pan, and I've got a few tuning plates already pulled out. We're gonna have a fire on this side of the Smokeslinger, which is the left side, and I'm gonna shove all my tuning plates to the right. The smoking heat will come up, go across the turkey, and then go out the exhausts on the right side. Let's go ahead and get that done. Now what we've got is we've got this side on the left open to where our fire, our smoke, and our heat will come straight up. We'll spin off the lid and go out the exhaust on the right. My dampers on the left-hand side are closed. We'll go ahead and get this thing lit. All right, guys, while that Smokeslinger's coming up to temp, let's go ahead and get this bird rubbed down. The breast side is down because there's no hole in that side where he didn't cut there. So we're just gonna gently flip this over, get some rub on that side. We're going first with the SPG rub. Kind of pat that down. Give us some of that YardBird, real gentle like. Don't want to go too heavy with a sugary rub. When you're doing a cook like this, we're gonna hit it at the very end right over the fire, crisp up that skin. That's one thing that makes this Smokeslinger stand out from everything else, is that you can slide that grate right over and hit it on right over that charcoal basket. What's beautiful about a turducken is that whenever you're serving this thing up, you just carve right down the middle, buddy, and you've got duck and chicken and turkey and all that stuffing and that sausage in there. It's gonna be glorious. We're gonna make a gravy out of the drippings off of this bird, which is also gonna be incredible. Let that sweat for just a second and I'll bring you back. All right, guys, let's get this turducken on the pit. Here we go. Wah! Here we go. Get you a good picture of that thing. That's that fennel all wrapped up. Let's go. We're gonna put the breast side towards the airflow, just like that. We're gonna watch our color. Now, I've got some cherry wood on the fire. Here, whenever that color is starting to get right, I'm gonna probably rotate this bird and we'll go from there. Let's roll. All right, guys, so now for about the next hour, basically all I'm gonna do is maintain my fire, kind of observe my temperature. My target temperature for the cook right now is between 275 and 300. We're just gonna let this thing roll for about an hour and I'm gonna check on it. About that time, I'm gonna put a foil pan in there with some chicken stock in it, so stay tuned for that. Then we're gonna start catching some drippings and stuff. For now, I just wanna get really good airflow, no humidity. Like, I don't want that pan boiling off or any of that stuff right now. It's just wasting chicken broth because this is gonna boil out of the pan and it's not really rendering any fat at this time. So anyway, give this thing about an hour and we're gonna come right back. All right, guys, let's get this thing flipped around. Well, we're getting some great color. Go over here and in a second, we'll check out the fire. I'll show you that. But the best way to do this is to pull this into the middle. Of course, I've got cottons on under my gloves and this grate is hot. You just have to pull your grate forward and we're tilting back like that. And then you can just temporarily set it up here on the side of the cooker just to get a hold of it. And then we're gonna tilt it to set it back down in and set this like that, slide it back over. That was super easy. So now we're starting to get some pullback on the end of these legs here. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap those in foil just to kind of keep that color. We wanna kind of move a little bit quick because our fire is starting to come up a little bit. You'll see that meat pulling back like that, and that's totally okay. We don't care about that as much as we do the color. There we go. Let me shut this down because that fire is starting to get going pretty good. We'll check on that fire here in a little bit. Okay, one more thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and put some chicken stock in this pan. We're gonna put a pan underneath of that turducken right now. And the only reason I'm putting chicken stock in here is because I don't want to just put a dry pan in there that's going to get super hot, because the juices that are trickling out right now, when they land in this pan, they're just going to caramelize and turn into just hard stains on the bottom of this pan, so to speak. So we're going to put some chicken stock in here. I'm just going to do enough to kind of cover the bottom, about 1/2 inch. This is a full-size buffet pan, so it's going to take quite a lot. Probably 3/4 of a box. That's about what I had left in this box here. So now we're just going to set this pan back in there, and we're going to go under the turducken and just let this pan catch that juice as it renders. Here we go. There's our chicken stock in the pan. Just like that. Just let that catch. Now, we shouldn't get like a ton of heat on that pan because it's on the lower rack and it's off away from the fire. So we should be able to get that chicken stock sitting in there, should keep the bottom of the pan cool enough that what drippings do come out of the turducken will go right down in that pan. We'll start catching all of that. The chicken stock instead of water is also going to add to our flavors and all of that when we make gravy out of this juice. So anyway, guys, we're going to come back here in a little bit, about another hour, and check in. All right, guys, it's been about 3.5 hours. And up until now, all I've been doing is just maintaining the fire. We haven't really had to do too much. You saw the last thing we did is rotated the bird around. And now it's time to go in there and look at the color, check our internal temp, and make a determination about how we want the rest of this cook to go. Now, something to keep in mind about a turducken specifically is that this is not like a normal turkey. This does not have an open cavity on the inside. We've got a chicken and a duck and all of that stuffing inside of there. So we have a very dense piece of meat here, and it's big like a pork butt. So we're gonna have to be a little more patient with the cook. We're gonna have to make sure that the meat that's on the inside, including that non-mammal sausage that we used on the inside there, we're gonna have to make sure that all of that comes up to a safe cooking temperature. Now, one thing you might run into is that the outside of your bird might get darker than you want. And that's what we're gonna take care of here at this step in the game. We're still running somewhere around 275 on the offset side, and the skin is looking really, really good last I checked. So we're gonna go ahead and flip to this other camera here and check it out. So we're getting some really good color here. You can kind of see that we got, some render happening. I'm gonna tilt this up just to get some of that liquid out of the cavity. One thing you don't want to happen when they make stuffing, that stuffing is full of moisture and stuff like that. Also, we've got the chicken sausage and the duck in here. We don't want this thing to get to a point where it's cooking in its own like liquid in there, just like sweating itself to death on the inside. What is that called? I'm not as fancy as you guys. What is that? Oh, I can't think of it when it's cooking its own fat. We're not wanting to do that. We're wanting this thing to drain out some of that juice and cook to a really good temperature, internal temperature, very even. So here, let's go ahead and stick this in there. So on the internal, right down inside the cavity, we're about 115 degrees, and you can see our skin darkening up here. So we're gonna do the same thing that we did on these legs. We're gonna go ahead and tint this bird with some foil. Put just a little bit of that under, and then bring this up. I'm not gonna wrap it like I'm wrapping a brisket. I'm gonna leave it kind of loose. I'm gonna go in the direction of airflow. I'm gonna put this piece under. We still wanna give a cavity for all of that moisture to render and fall down into our bottom pan. We also were not wanting to steam this skin too much. Let's get a look at our fire real quick. Got a really good bed of embers in there. It's about time to add a split up on top. Or we could add some coals. So we could go ahead and add a split right now if we wanted, but we're gonna go ahead and add some coals to this fire instead of that. And I'm gonna use this harder charcoal that I've got over here. So I use these big heavy gloves whenever I'm handling this charcoal basket. Those coals are looking really good. Here's the bag for that harder charcoal. I got this here. My buddy Sean Rapier told me about these guys. So I went ahead and got a bag of their lump and a bag of their briquettes. This is the lump. And so far I'm noticing throughout the entire bag, I've got really nice sized pieces. I haven't had any little bitty fine pieces yet. Now we don't want to over fuel either. Since we got that bird covered up with foil right now, I'm not going to worry about adding a split. All right, so there you have it. It's time to sit back for a little bit. We're going to have another drink, and about another hour we'll come back and check. It seems to be gaining internal temperature very well. We just want to protect the color of that skin on the outside right now. And then whenever we get up where that internal temperature is getting really close to our 160, 155, 160, something like that, that's when we're going to break out the bacon up and slide that bird right over the top of the coals to crisp up that skin. So stay tuned for that. Okay guys, it's time to look at this bird. So it's been on there now right at 5 hours, and I really like the color. I have been peeking periodically as I maintain the fire. Anyway, it looks pretty good. We tinted it with foil, if you remember, the last time we were in there looking around. And we're gonna check. We hopefully are somewhere around 160 at this point in the game. And if that's true, we're gonna roll it over and we're gonna start crisping up the skin. There we go. There we go. It's a little bit dark, looks like. Of course, I got the light going on here. You can kind of see that color there. We're gonna go ahead and probe this thing, see where we're at on the temperature. Right there in the middle on the thigh side, we're at 155. Let's check on this end. And we're at 160 on this end. This is a great opportunity to not only rotate it, but flip it over. Let's look at our color and see what the bottom looks like. Look at that right there, buddy. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and put that side back down and slide this grate closer to the coals here. Now right now this fire's got flames going on it, so I'm gonna go ahead and shut this lid down for just a minute and try to get those flames to die down before I slide the grate over. All right guys, let's get this thing slid over. Now at this stage in the game, I'm not as worried about catching the drippings, but my goodness, look at this. Look at those drippings. That is awesome. You put that in a separator, gravy separator, that is fire. We're gonna shut this up real quick. We're gonna let that skin crisp up here for just a few minutes. I'm gonna set a timer for about, I don't know, 10 minutes, because I don't want it to get too crazy, and I wanna check it again and see what it looks like. At this point, we're gonna start babying a little bit. Okay guys, let's look at this turkey. Look at here, boy. 160 in the thigh end of it. And that's down in the middle of the carcass, by the way. Still about 160. Let's roll it up. Man, look at it render. We got a little bit of a split right there, but our color is getting really nice now. I'm gonna flip it back over the pan here, and we're gonna go ahead and cover him up and finish it off. Okay, so we're gonna, I rotated that bird around. Now we're gonna run that temperature up and we're gonna let it finish off on the internal. We are very close to being done here. All right, guys, this is it. Let's go ahead and check our temperature. I think we're gonna be right there. All right. Let's see what we got here. 174 right there. Down in the farther in the carcass, 173, right at 165. We're there. Let's go ahead and pull this over there. Looks like our skin's split right there on that thigh, just a little bit. Man, those drippings though, check that out. That looks awesome. What we're gonna do, we're gonna pull this fennel out. We're gonna cut this twine, get us a bite. So this is our turducken right here. There's our color. We're gonna wind up cutting this thing right in half. Oops, look, there's the little plastic thing. Forgot to pull that out. I didn't know it was even in there. All right, let's go. Oh yeah. Man, if you're a chicken leg man, right there, that's the bite. I'm gonna take a bite right here, see how it does. You ready? It's hot. Boy, that tastes good. I'm just gonna set that down in this tub right there. You can smell that dressing in here. There it is right there. You can see where they cut the bone out, where he deboned that. So you get all that dark meat. Same deal here on the wing. You can just go right around it. You can kind of feel it there. It goes in here. Here's some of that dressing. Oh yeah, good as a cut right down the middle of this thing. Here we go, guys. Yeah, I love it. Man, now let's get us, yeah, juice running everywhere. Check that out. That's turducken right there, boy. Got all that dressing and the duck, and then there's the chicken in there. It looks really good. There's some peppers in there. Here, I'm gonna take me a bite. I'm hungry. Get some of that chicken first. I'm gonna dunk it in the juice. Oh yeah, man, that's good. Here we go. Some of that duck. Man, you cannot beat that. Get that gravy done. Let's get some of this turkey. What I like about a turducken more than anything is you've basically got the whole, like the dressing, the chicken, the duck, the turkey, all of that right here. But we can slice this whole thing. There's no bones in this at all. Just pull off those legs and the wings. You can just carve this thing up, put a little bit of gravy on it, you're there. That skin turned out awesome. Just tears right off. Cannot beat a turducken, man, for a Thanksgiving meal, Christmas meal. If you want to do something different, do something fun, this is the ticket right here. It takes a little bit longer to cook. Like this whole entire cook was about 5.5 hours, almost 6. What I would probably do now if I was serving this is I would slice this up into pieces, and you're gonna get like chunks of chicken, chunks of duck, chunks of turkey, and you know, have a bowl of gravy on the side. That's what we would do with this juice. I've got a thing called a gravy separator, basically. It's like a pitcher, but you got a lever that you pull. What happens is you put all this juice in that deal, set it down, let it sit for a minute. All of that fat goes up to the top and the good stuff stays at the bottom. And you can see right through the side of it. So you open that lever and then it filters out like all the chunks. They stay up in the top in a little strainer, but the really good turkey juice and the chicken juice and the duck juice, that all goes down inside whatever container you're dumping it into. And you can let go of the lever before the fat comes out. So you can keep the fat, but then you've also got the the juice from the turducken. You can use that in the gravy, use that as a base. That's the beautiful thing about that. All right, guys, well, that's a turducken on the Smokeslinger. Go ahead and see if you can find one of these things. They're available online. If you can't, find you a butcher local that'll make one for you. I highly recommend it. If you don't have a Smokeslinger already, go over to smokeslinger.com and check them out. Also, you can check out our Facebook group, Smokeslinger Pit Owners Group. Till next time, keep your smoke thin and blue, and we'll see you again.